Hi, dear listener. Welcome to the Young Changemakers podcast, an initiative from Global Changemakers. Your co-hosts, Sophie, George, and William are very happy to have you join us today. Over this first season, we'll show you the incredible impact of youth and hopefully inspire you to take action too. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're ready, let's go!
Hi guys, and welcome to the 11th episode of the Young Changemakers podcast series. Today I'll be interviewing Dipika Badal, who's 21 years old from Nepal. Dipika serves as the president for an NGO, a youth-led NGO, which is called We for Change. And her interest lies in engaging young people on adapting a healthy lifestyle and environment. And at We for Change, they have implemented 5 projects with over 20 programs and reaching a total of 5,000 youth since 2014. Dipika is also a proud recipient of the Peace First USA Fellowship, where she mobilized 150 young people to raise their voices for health concerns around air pollution. So I met Dipika last year at the Global Youth Summit in Switzerland back in July, and I must say she's probably one of the most positive, energetic, exciting young people that I met at the summit. So I'm very excited to share this conversation with you all today. Enjoy. So welcome, Dipika, to our 11th episode of the Young Changemakers podcast. I'm again very excited to have you on the show, and of course I think you're one of the most positive, vibrant, and energetic person I met at the Global Youth Summit we had back in July. And it was amazing to get to know you. So welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be a part of Global Changemaker podcast because Global Changemaker has been an amazing part of my life. So I'm really excited for this.
And so you're 20 years of age, am I right? You're still...
I'm 21.
Okay, you've turned 21 and you're from Nepal, and in Nepal you're studying Forestry Science at the Kathmandu Forestry College. So I want to ask you a bit about Nepal, and how did growing up in such a beautiful country with that amazing Himalayas and that sort of environment, did that have an impact on how you wanted to get involved in forestry science and climate activism?
Nepal is just a beautiful country, and I'm so lucky and so fortunate to be born in Nepal. And I was born in the Tarai region of Nepal, which is like in the rural place of Nepal. But fortunately, I've been raised in the capital city, which is Kathmandu, and I'm really fortunate for that. So I have a family of 4 members, and I'm really very grateful that my parents are so much supportive that in everything I do, they are like always motivating me. They are always motivating me to become a leader, do something for a change. And that is why I have been to this point of my life. It's all because of the support of my parents. And talking about my upbringing in Nepal, Nepal is such a beautiful country full of Himalayas, mountains, diverse biodiversity. But at the same point, it is one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change, which is one of the recent biggest problem in the whole world, right? So, but as Nepal is a developing country, developmental activities are always ongoing here. And as we all know that for development to happen, there are some sacrification that needs to be done. And here we can like sense the endangerment of our forests and biodiversity, and there is climate change going on. And before I even joined forestry, or before I had been to a part of any such activism, I was a part of my organization We for Change, where I fortunately got chance to like engage with young people, know about their perspective in environment, in the protection of environment. And through all these incidents, through the incident of like the condition of Nepal, the degrading condition of environment, the global degrading condition of environment, and also the young perspective towards protection of environment, I was really motivated to work in this sector, to know more about this sector, for anything to work on, we need a little bit of knowledge on that sector. So that is what led me to study forestry, because I love nature, I wanted to work for its protection. And what better than studying forestry, which is linked directly to this sector. And forestry is such a diverse subject because it includes forest, mountain, agriculture, agroforestry, climate change, and you get a lot of idea in this subject, and then you get to know what you want to do in further. So this is how I was led towards forestry. And talking about importance of studying in this, or importance of protecting environment in context of Nepal, I want to share a small campaign or a small incident that recently happened in Nepal. So Nijgarh is one of the area where there are lots of forest, which consists of lots of forest area. So recently there was it was purpose that international airport is to be made in Nijgarh, but in here it was also purpose that 2.4 million trees are needed to be cut down to make this airport, right? So it was like for this such developmental work, 2.4 million trees had to be cut down. So so many people were raising voice against it. So many campaigners, environmentalists were against this, and finally right now this project has been halted. So we can also sense from this incident and how important studying environment, studying why we should protect environment is necessary in today's context, and especially in developing countries like Nepal, where developmental processes are important and development needs to go along with conservation. So yeah, this is why I was really interested to study forestry too.
Okay. And yeah, it comes down a lot to like development is important for countries lacking infrastructure and that sort of stuff, but at the cost of the environment. I'm sure that now our leaders and government should alert to the impact of such development projects on the environment. So I want to you mentioned at the summit you had on your 13th birthday, Dipika, your dad took you to a HIV orphanage, and that's that through that experience, that's what got you involved in your organization where you're currently a president at We for Change. Can you share a bit more about that experience and how that led to your involvement?
Yeah, when I was like 13 years old, my dad took me to HIV orphanage near my house. So there I was like, he told me that we'll go celebrate with those kids, and we went there. And then I was like all celebrating with the kids. Because distributing chocolates was really great in our birthdays. So I went there, I distributed chocolates, and I met a girl there, and there I was like sharing chocolates, and I was really happy there. But when I saw her, she was really sad. And I said that, it's my birthday. Don't you want chocolate? Don't you love your birthdays? And one thing she said to me that, I don't love birthdays because I hate birthdays because I have to live by calendar. And that thing really struck me because I was there celebrating my birthday, celebrating the day I was born, and there was a girl who had to count her days in the calendars to live every day. And through that, I really was pissed off, and I was really, really very sad. And I just came back home and I shared all this thing with my parents, and they said that, yeah, world is not. They said me that world is not. World does not provide justice to all. Not everyone are lucky. So from that day, I had a will to work for people living with HIV, work for everyone, work for justice, basically. So after when I was in 11, I heard about organization called We for Change. So I heard about We for Change, and I talked with my dad, and he said that, yeah, it's a youth. When he went there, he learned about We for Change, and he said that, yeah, it's a youth-led organization. You can go and you can join there. So We for Change, I just heard about We for Change. I went there, and then I learned about it, and I just loved the concept of We for Change. And it was established in 2012, and I had joined in 2014. So I loved the concept about We for Change, and I started volunteering in We for Change. And from then, I've been involved in We for Change, and I love my journey, and I love this place. And I can never forget that incident in my life when I went to the HIV orphanage, because that's something that has led me to the point where I am today. And that is something that I think every people should know, that not everyone are lucky enough to be where they are today, to live, to breathe. So everybody should just respect that they have a life They have
Mhm.
they have people around them, they have happiness, so they should be willing to contribute to someone else's happiness so that someone else could get a justice for life.
Mhm. No, it's after several conversations I've had with other people, some of these young change makers, it's been a current occurrence that I think it's been like one or two incidences or one experience that has definitely prompted people like yourself to get involved and really make a difference rather than dwell on such issues. That's what's really driving them. So, Dipika, if you wouldn't mind sharing a bit more about We for Change. So you've mentioned you're doing that HIV awareness, and I've read that currently there's 40,000 people HIV positive, and there's a
Mhm.
lot of stigmatization on safe sex practices. How have you managed to improve that, and share a bit more about the bus project there, Dipika?
All right. So We for Change is a youth-led organization. So everybody working in We for Change are from 16 to 24 years old. We are only between 16 to 24 years old. All the board of directors, members, volunteers, everybody lie between this age group. And we started from 2012. And today we work in 5 thematic areas. We work in environment, we work in health, we work in disaster, we work in civic engagement, and among all the cross-cutting, we work in leadership. So there are like 5 thematic areas among which we work for every project and program. So for, as you mentioned, the testing bus. So the bus is a free HIV testing bus. It is a modified van where we have modified the van into a moving clinic, and this moving bus moves to 10 most vulnerable places of Tarai region of Nepal, where the HIV services have not been reached. So what does this bus do is, this bus moves to every most vulnerable areas of Tarai region, where we go there and provide free HIV testing in door-to-door steps of these people. And we just test the status, and if they are found positive, we link them to the ART services.
Okay, wow. That's so you're going into really remote regions where otherwise that these people who are HIV positive are able to access proper healthcare where they otherwise may not have even been picked up. That's super important, isn't it? That you've identified those rural communities.
Yeah, it's really very important because sometimes the access are not equally distributed. And what this bus does is, this bus reaches to the point where the access are not equally distributed and provide the facilities, due to which we can really identify the core vulnerably affected people. I really love this project because we can see the on-site impact of this project. We can really see how well this project is working, how well this project is impacting someone's life. So this is a really great project, and this is a really great initiative.
Definitely. And you also, as another initiative to roll out awareness on HIV, you released some music videos. I hear you're a bit of a TV star now, Topeka. Can you share a bit more about those? And I heard they went viral in Nepal, and how that's had a big
Yeah.
impact through social media.
Yeah. One of the great thing what We for Change does is, we basically use mediums such as sports, yoga, meditation, dance, and song in order to aware young people, in order to aware all general public, right? So what
Hmm.
we did was, we made a song named Condom Song, and as condom is such a great stigma here in Nepal, people don't usually use the word condom because they feel shy to use this
Mm.
word in front of, especially in front of large people. So what we did was, we made the song after it. We made Condom Song, and it was such a great hit. Condom Song was released under our project Out Loud, which is a initiative where we work with migrant transportation workers, where we provide them awareness sessions, trainings on HIV and AIDS, because transportation workers are one of the most vulnerable population to get transmitted from HIV and AIDS. So we work with them, and the lyrics for this song was extracted from them. So we used to have a dohori session. Dohori is a traditional song competition among male and female in Nepal. So we just had a dohori about condoms and HIV and AIDS, and we extracted the lyrics from these transportation workers, and then we assimilated it and made a song out of it, which was a condom song. And it was such a great hit because the lyrics, the song, the music was just amazing, and I was like shocked because it was because the lyrics, the tune was really very great, and I could sense that my parents were also singing this song in one interval because yeah, it was really great song. It's like, oh my darling, no use condom. So it's really really great song. It's
Do you
really
know,
funny, and yeah.
I'm gonna find this, and if you don't mind, I can put it in the show notes, so
Yeah, it was,
people
yeah, it
listening
was really
can
great.
check it out, because I think it's great how you've something such as safe sex and HIV, you've sort of, I mean, taken a bit of humor into it, but done it through song, and something creative as that is really powerful.
Yeah, and everyone were singing it, and also along with condom song, we also have free HIV. We have a testing song, which is about the importance of testing. So it was released about a year ago. So there is a testing song, and then we have a short movie known as HIV. I am positive, which is also about stigma on HIV and AIDS. So we really use this different methods in order to like reach to general public, because nowadays social media has a great reach. Social media works really well, and people are so much engaged in social media that they, whenever they see a title or something really very terrible title, they would just click on it and they would watch it. So what better
Sure.
than watching condom song?
Okay, no, excellent. I want to chat a bit more about, in the case of natural disaster in Nepal, Dipika. So back in 2015, as a lot of people might remember, Nepal experienced the severe earthquakes, and they had a magnitude of 7.8, and that absolutely was devastating to Kathmandu. I remember seeing on the news and seeing the landslides and avalanches, and 9,000 people died in that one event, and over 22,000 suffered injuries. So do you mind sharing a bit more about your experience in that natural disaster, and then how your organization We for Change developed that project on disaster preparedness for community reintegration and improving resilience, like post disaster?
Yeah, it was really a horrible experience for all Nepali people, because we never had experienced such great disaster, because it was really very hard. I can remember that I was studying in my room, and everything was shaking. Everything was shaking, and we all just ran out of our houses. And we heard news that there was a physical monument of Nepal, which is known as Tharara. So it's like 9 stories tall, and we could see all valley from it. And we heard that it had collapsed. The place from where we could see a valley had been collapsed, and we were like, oh my god. We were having a phone calls that Dharara was collapsed. We were having phone calls that all the cultural monuments of our Bhaktapur Darbar Square, Kathmandu Darbar Square had been collapsed, and people were dying, people were getting injured, homes were collapsing, infrastructures were damaged, there were road cracks, and it was really very horrible conditions. And at the end, we knew that our 9,000 people were dead, and about more than 30,000 people were injured. It was really a national crisis.
Gosh,
So
yeah.
And not only in April 25, but about 15, there were so many aftershocks, and about 15 to 20 days later, in 12th May, there was again a big earthquake, about 7.3 magnitude. First there was 7.8 magnitude quake, and the situation was horrible. And what we did was, like, everywhere, everybody were volunteering. The forces of young people was really seen during the earthquake, because all young people were out of their houses, helping, just getting out there cleaning the rubbers, helping people, donating clothes, donating whatever they could. And the unity of whole nation was shown during that earthquake. And it was really great to see that unity, but the situation was really horrible. And what We for Change did was, We for Change mainly ran two main projects right after the earthquake. So the first one was immediate relief, which was like for 3 months. What we did was we identified one of the most affected places around Kathmandu Valley, which was Sakhu. And in Sakhu's Lambudara, we had identified most affected families, which were 68 families, which were around 68 families, I guess. And we started immediate relief works. We distributed tents, we distributed materials, housing materials, clothes, blankets, hygiene kits, and children were really very traumatized. So we conducted Olympics, we distributed sport materials, we established child-friendly spaces, and then we cleaned the rubbles, and we had many sports activities. So this was for 3 months. And then right after the relief, we had recovery and restoration, where we targeted mainly 305 families, and we conducted mainly 4 projects where we ran wash awareness, education, housing support, and health camps. So we had conducted wash awareness programs for the students, child friendly activities. We had we had done partial housing support, and then conducted health camps. So this was right after the earthquake. And also about 4 or 5 months later, which is one of my favorite projects that I was a part of as We for Change, was School on Wheels. What we did was, before free HIV testing bus came into rise, we had a van. And we had restructured the van into a moving library, which was then called School on Wheels. So we identify 26 most earthquake affected districts, and then the van moved to this 26 most earthquake affected districts, and the van was converted into a moving library. So we went to schools, we went to communities, we worked with children, because children were so much traumatized. They were in a fear that they were like, oh my god, the quake could come in any second. So they were really very traumatized. So we worked with them, we played with them, we studied with them. They were like coming to our library, they were reading books. And so in this way, we went to 26 different districts, and we worked with children through School on Wheels. So this was what we did right after the earthquake.
I just can't believe how many different sort of areas We for Change has been tackling. I don't know how you manage all this, Dipika, but I can obviously hear through your voice just how much passion you have for creating change for youth. And I mean, as soon as an event like the earthquake happened, I can't imagine where you begin to start. I mean, there's just buildings falling down, but the fact that you got out and engaged these communities and started improving on their mental health, that's really incredible. And you touched on how you saw Nepal sort of really unite during that time of crisis. We're currently seeing Australia go through a similar thing with the bushfires. What's important is people really, they get together. And I think, if youth can be highlighted and empowered to really play a big part in these times of crisis, I think it's important for them to first of all understand the impact, and then be empowered and know how to act promptly. So, moving on a bit, you're a recipient of this a prize called the Peace First USA Fellowship, as a result, because you mobilized over 150 young people to raise their voices for health concerns as a result of air pollution. Do you mind sharing a bit more about that? Is air pollution quite a big problem in Kathmandu? And how important is that we continue to educate youth around, I guess, the climate justice and tackling issues such as air pollution?
Yeah, Kathmandu has been considered as like in the top 10 most polluted city in the world, which is really a bad news. So it's like whenever the pollutants in the air crosses 300 micrograms of pollutants, this situation has to be called as an emergency situation. And the air level, the pollutant level in the air of Kathmandu has already touched 250 micrograms. So this is nearly to an emergency situation. And this air pollution has been affecting the health of all the people here so much that people are getting cardiac disease, respiratory disease, eye problems, and so much more diseases. And almost like 35,000 people and more are losing life every day due to this problem of air pollution. And what we thought was nobody was like raising voice against this problem. It was basically because of the construction work, developmental works that was ongoing, and also due to the government not focusing on this problem. And mainly general public was not raising voice against this. General public was not pushing and pressurizing government to take action. So what we did was, I thought of a project where we could unite young people just to raise voice, nothing more. We would do silent rallies, and we would just stand with satirical pamphlets in front of the government agencies. So we conducted a project Pahal, due to which, through the help of Peace First, due to which I was awarded as Peace First a recipient. So I was really very lucky to be a part of that. So what Project Pahal did was, it was organized in 3 phases. And in all 3 phases, young people gathered around and then conducted silent rallies. And we also shared satirical pamphlets through the social media. And it was all just to raise voice and stand against this injustice, to pressurize government that people are not happy with what government is doing for not taking action against this issue. So we just conducted 3 phases of silent rallies around the major hub of Kathmandu area, and then we shared the satirical pamphlets. And what one good thing happened was, young people were really uniting together to stand against this injustice. They were like aware, general public could see what we wanted, and government Ministry of Environment recognized our initiative. They had given a call to We for Change, and then they said that they had recognized our initiative, and they were really happy that we took a stand. So it was really good to hear that at least they recognized our initiative, and at least young people are now concerned towards to push and pressurize government to take actions against this. So Pahal had been a really great initiative and a really great start. I will say it as a start, not an end. So it's a really great start to stand against this injustice.
I'm glad that they, that project and the silent protest had a bit of an impact there. So did the government go ahead and change any major, or change much of the policy or anything around pollution? Did you see much of a result?
Not much, but they have installed, like in the major hubs of Kathmandu, they have installed pollution meters, and they have installed dustbins, and they have now systemized the traffic system in case of the vehicles, because vehicles are one of the greatest measures that are producing pollution. So they are trying every day. So at least we should recognize their startups.
Definitely, yeah. So I want to ask you for a bit of an insight on what practical measures do you think should be put in place to possibly build the future capacity of youth and begin the process of developing powerful leaders such as yourself in communities in Kathmandu and as well as in other countries? Do you want to share a bit on what's your thoughts on capacity building for future leaders?
So the major thing that I have felt throughout my journey till date, and what I have seen throughout others' journey, is trust towards young people is really very important, because respecting our decisions, providing space for our ideas, valuing our ideas, and trusting us is really very important, because building a trust towards young people can help motivate them to work better. Listening to their voices, investing in young people is really very important, right? So also like involving them in every level of work, from planning to decision making. Like just recently in COP, I guess, there was a youth group where our global change makers were also present. So this
Mm-hmm.
was one of the initiatives that was taken in listening and trusting young people voices. So things like this could be done. And also what I feel is i really love I really loved Global Youth Summit, and this was a small scale summit. And I feel that in every country, if such summit was conducted, people would really be empowered. Young people would really be motivated to do better, because they would learn so much on decision making process. They would learn a design thinking process. They would learn to build their strength, know their weaknesses. They would learn how other people are doing things around the world, and they would get motivated. And instantly after this, I really know that they would do great, and they would do very, very better.
No, the summit was incredible for, I think there's a lot of people out there like yourself who identify issues and act on them, but then bring 60 young people together to bounce off each other and share ideas and even future possible collaboration between each other is really empowering. I hope there's more opportunities for youth out there in the coming future.
I just wanted to add a thing that building one of the most important thing in young people's journey is that people would trust them, because this is such a crucial phase, that this is like molding a pot, you know.
Mm.
Like if you are like if you are like supported, if you are trusted, then people can go in positive direction. But if you're not trusted, if your voice hasn't been heard, then you would be discouraged, and there would be possibility of moving in a negative direction. So it's really necessary to trust young people, to listen to their voices, respect their decisions, because that will really help them motivate and empower them to move in a correct process and correct way. That will not only help them, but also help in the good of all the country, and in large scale all the world.
Definitely, yeah. I couldn't agree more, because I mean everyone's talking about the current climate crisis, but in any areas of whether it's social activism, environmental justice, and issues such as air pollution, I think the older generation, yeah, youth empowerment is critical, because I mean we're the ones, and our children and our children's children are the ones that are going to be dealing with the consequences of our actions today. So we have to have that mindset of thinking in the future, and empowering youth is key to that. I want to ask you a bit about your own perspective and how you've adopted this massive personal commitment to change. So how have you endeavored to create such a positive mindset, and and such vibrant energy that keeps bouncing off all these projects that you're doing? So ultimately, what keeps you striving towards this end goal, Dipika?
I really love this quote by Malala, that when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes powerful. So I really, really love this quote, because this is such a powerful quote. And this is what led me to Pahal too, because nobody was raising the voice against air pollution. So why not me? Because and the result was one voice was becoming powerful through that process. So I really love this quote, and I believe that if people want to contribute for positive change, firstly they themselves should be positive. And
Mm.
maybe this is why I really always try to become positive. I really try to become cheerful, because maybe seeing me cheerful, people would be cheerful, and that is what is needed to have a positive change. And when when we have a growth mindset, we always try to move out of comfort zone. We always we also always charge ourselves for challenges. And whenever we are facing a challenges, there's always two types of results: either you achieve something, or you fail. And whenever you fail, that's not even failing, because you learn by your mistake, and then you get a chance to improve in the future. So there's nothing to lose. So that always keeps me motivated towards doing something and moving forward. And I really love that always you always need to have a positive attitude to move towards something great, to move towards collecting people, move towards influencing people, move towards motivating people, and working together.
No, I definitely think that, yeah, first of all, is positive mindset. I mean, I think there's a fine line between being overly optimistic. Yes, there's lots of issues that we need to face and digesting them first. But yeah, first, I think once you adopt that positive mindset, it radiates amongst others, and that's how you begin to build that collaboration. And the work you're doing through We for Change, I think it's definitely built that momentum. Yeah, I hope you have an excellent year in 2020. What sort of are some future programs that you're looking at tackling this year, Dipika?
Basically, this year will be like full of challenges because I have to complete my study this year, and this year will be, because I forgot to tell something about We for Change. One of the excellent thing that I love about We for Change is like we have 2 years of leadership handover process. So every 2 years we have our board of director changes, because we provide a platform for young leaders to enhance their leadership through the board of directors process, because they will be the major decision making body of the organization. So every 2 years our board of directors changes and we hand over our leadership. So 2019 and 2021 is my tenure. So at the end of 2020, at the end of March 2021, I'll be handing over my leadership to a new generation. So this year will be really great challenges for me, because I have to build something for my organization. I have to live over something great for my organization, for my coming leaders. So there will be challenges for my organization. I'm looking forward to work on the environment sector. I'm looking forward to basically to work on programs related to climate crisis, related to climate justice. I want to aware young generations, especially school-going children, about climate change and basically protection of our environment. So I'll be looking forward for environment projects, and yeah, that's it.
Oh, well, incredible. I think you've got enough on your hands, but with the enthusiasm and energy and the team around you, I'm sure you'll be able to tackle those projects front on.
Yeah, I have a great team, and there's also one challenge that I have, that our team has to build future leader for our organization too. So with my team, I'll also be working on that. And in 2021, we'll have to like change the strategic plan. We'll be working on that too. So there are lots for 2020, and I really hope that everything will go great.
No, definitely. And the fact that you've identified the need to pass on the baton and empower other youth to step into these leadership roles, that's critical. And I think it's really impressive, the work that you guys are doing. And if you guys, the listeners out there, want to have a look at We for Change website, there's plenty of information about their projects and the initiatives that they've launched, and you can check it out there. Dipika, it's been really great chatting to you today. I've had a great time, and I think you've really given us and everyone listening a great insight into the work of youth and the importance of youth empowerment. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I had such a great time. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for listening to my thoughts. It was really great.
If you'd like to know more about Global Changemakers and our mission of enabling youth to create a positive impact in their communities, you can visit our website at global-changemakers.net or follow us on social media at WeAreGCM. And if you'd like to support us further, go check out our Patreon page at Global Changemakers and help us have a greater impact. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Young Changemakers. See you next Tuesday.